Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel and spending some time with me on the video today. We're going to be talking about the key features on a bass boat that you need to have if you're looking to buy a used boat or a new boat or whatever. These are some features that every bass boat should have to really maximize your efficiency as an angler. And I've had a bunch of boats over the years, guys. I probably had over 40 different bass boats throughout my 50 some years of fishing as a professional, and I've got a pretty good idea of what's important on a boat. So I'm going to show you from my perspective what you really need to look for in today's video. Also, guys, speaking of boats, this is my Vexus 1980 aluminum bass boat right here that I got through Branson West Marine in Branson, Missouri. We're going to have this boat for sale coming this June. Anyone interested in buying it, just reach out to Branson West Marine in Branson, Missouri. I'll put the link in the description there. And if you tell them you saw the video on my channel, it'll probably get you a good deal. And also, whoever buys this boat, I'll take you out on Table Rock Lake personally in it, show you how to run the thing, and I think you guys really like it. Okay, I'm gonna turn the camera around here, guys, and we're gonna run through it, and I'll show you what you need to look for. Here we go. Okay, guys, the first thing you wanna look for is always get a boat, if you can afford it, with your budget. You know, budget's everything, I understand. But try to go with the tandem axle if possible. It's a safer trailer to tow with. You don't have the side-to-side sway. And if you pick up a nail going to the lake or something and you get a flat tire, you can keep rolling. It's not going to stop you. But if you got a single axle, you're going to have to change that tire out. So tandem axle is an important deal. Obviously, if you're fishing out of a smaller boat, they don't come in tandem axles, but that's just one consideration to make with it. The area back in the back here, guys, where it's mounted, I mean, it's really good idea to have at least a stationary plate on there. Stationary or hydraulic plate. It's going to get you better performance, going to get you out of the hole better, allow you to get over shallower water. That's a really big deal with that. Your compartment back here, as far as your battery storage, you want to make sure that you got plenty of room back here, because one of the things you don't want to have in a boat is if it's all cramped up back here. So always spend extra attention here. Make sure everything's clean. Make sure your wires are tight, nothing's loose there, but that's a big indicator there. Now, for me as a tournament angler, live wells are important too. Now, some boats, depending upon the brand, they have crappy live wells, but you want some type of a divided live well that has some type of a way that they can breathe back and forth with it. You can see here on the Vexus, that'll either come out to make it a super big well, but at least you do have some serrated holes there, because if one of your aerators is not working on one side of the boat, at least you can get oxygen to both sides. So that's an important feature with that. Sea deck's a big deal. You know, if you have the option of getting sea deck, that's a really big deal, because this thing will dry out real quick. The comfortability of your seats is also big. It's like, you spend a lot of time in the seats as far as, you know, riding in the boat, so make sure your seats are nice and comfortable. That'll take the shock of the rough water. Storage is another element here. One of the things about storage, not all storage is equal. You want to make sure you have plenty storage and nice deep storage to get a lot of tackle in there. Some boat manufacturers, depending upon the model, you don't have hardly any storage in them, and you're going to wind up just really having to be careful the way that you pack on there. Now, the trolling motor, one thing about it is you got to be comfortable with your trolling motor, and there's a lot of different brands out there, but the main thing with it is you want a trolling motor that's quiet, and you've got a good bracket system here. You don't want, you know, some bracket system that's all creaking and weak like that. Make sure you got a strong bracket system. One thing that I do like on a trolling motor, one technological, you know, luxury I allow myself is the spot lock, because the spot lock, I don't use it for fishing, but I do use it for like working on stuff. Let's say, for example, if I'm working down a bank and the wind's blowing 10 miles an hour and I got to retie some baits, or I want to retie a jig or make up a new jig, I can put that spot lock on and it keeps me in one spot without drifting off it. It's really good there. Front unit, like I said, nice, simple with that. The only thing you need is a 2D sonar, GPS. You don't even need the GPS, but 2D sonar is basically what you need. One recommendation I would have, guys, is make sure that the unit that you have on the front of your boat is the exact same unit that you have on your console, because that way, if you have one of your electronic units go out, you can swap them and still not lose any fishing time. I really need to have this one put on a bracket here, because if it did break, it's going to be hard to get it out of this end dash here. But I'll probably maybe next year go with some type of a bracket. But you know, having your electronic units the same front and back are going to be really important with that. Another thing with that is pay attention to the design of the underneath front of your boat like that. Now, depending upon the type of water that you fish, the design of the front is going to determine, to me, if I get the boat or not. Now, I fish a lot of big lakes, so I do need the V hull, because the V hull is going to allow me to get through and ride in rough water a lot better over long distances. So if you're in a lake that you're gonna be in rough water, if it doesn't matter if you're using aluminum or whatever, make sure you got a good V bottom. The traditional aluminum boats, a lot of them don't have the V on there. They're flatter on the front, and it's going to be a lot more rough riding, you know, if you choose to do that on a big water type of a boat. And the main thing is, when you're up front, check the stability of the platform. You know, again, regardless of the boats that you have, you want to make sure that you don't have a lot of wobbling side to side. So walk back and forth on both sides of the boat to get a feel how stable the boat is, because what happens is, a lot of times some of these bass boats are really fast because they got a more of a V bottom all the way underneath it, and you sacrifice stability on your casting platform. So you want to have a boat that has a combination of a smooth ride, of a V up front that flattens out to the back, that gives you stability on the casting platform. You definitely don't want it to be wobbling all around everywhere. But those are some of the most important things with it. I mean, as far as when you're looking for some key features on a boat. Another thing is length on it. The Vexus I have here is 19 feet. In my own personal opinion, guys, I can tell you right now that I like a boat that's under 20 feet. I mean, 19 to, at the very most, 20 foot is fine. Ideally, I would like closer to a 19 footer. Now, here's the difference. It's like, when you're in a 19 foot boat like this 1980 Vexus versus like a 21 foot bass boat, number one, the boat's lighter. So when you're moving forward, it's a lot easier to stop and reverse a smaller boat without getting the prop wash, because the momentum of a heavy boat is hard to back up, number one. And number two is, if you're manipulating around cover, like between boat docks and between lay down trees and stuff like that, it's a lot more difficult to get a 20, 21 foot boat to do that versus an 18 or 19 footer. So in my opinion, the fishability of the boat, of it being a little bit shorter, outweighs any disadvantages of having the bigger boat, unless you're fishing somewhere like Lake Ontario or Lake Erie, where you're in giant water all the time. But in my opinion, probably the ideal length for a bass boat, 18 to 19 feet is the one that I like on there. So that's just a few things that I like in a boat. Okay guys, that's just a few simple features that, I find really important in a boat. Like I said, I got my first boat in, what was it, 1976. I bought a little 14 foot, it was a 16 foot flat bottom at a rummage sale for $200. So I've literally had a boat my whole life since 1976. And usually for over 35 years, I had a deal where I had a demo boat where I changed it out every year. So I've had a bunch of different boats. I've had a chance to use a ton of boats to find out what's important. And that's those things that I just covered for you are the main issues for me. Now, the big consideration we all have is budget. Like I said, everybody has to work within their budget with the boat. And, you don't have to have a freaking $100,000 boat to have a good time fishing. You don't even have to have a $50,000 boat. There is a lot of boats out there on the market for like $5,000 or $6,000 if you're looking to get into, a bass boat that are available. So really just, shop around. There's a bunch of different, opportunities out there. Just take your time, do your due diligence before you make that investment, because nobody likes to have buyer's remorse on a bass boat. But anyway, that's just a little bit of advice I'll give you guys what to look for on it. Hope it helps out. We'll talk later.